This is After the Fire, a series about history after the events. Each season follows the long relationship between two worlds. We do not begin at the beginning. We do not return to the moment of victory, expansion, or conquest. We do not pause at the instant when everything still seemed possible. We begin later, at the moment when the fire has already passed. When something mattered enough to leave traces, but not enough to remain whole. After the Fire is a series about history seen from a distance, not from the center of power, but from places where consequences last longer than events themselves. It is an attempt to understand the world not at the moment it was formed, but at the moment it began to change, often quietly, often irreversibly. This is not a story about a single civilization or a single era. It is a story about relationships, about worlds that existed side by side for centuries, sometimes in tension, sometimes in silence, sometimes in a dialogue that was never fully articulated. That is why one of the central threads of this project follows parallel histories. Civilizations that developed at the same time without a single decisive conquest, without a final resolution. Histories that resist being reduced to rivalry, but also refuse the idea of isolation. Sometimes, however, to understand such relationships, it is necessary to look even further back, to a time before borders, before states, before identities hardened into names. To a world in which differences existed but had not yet become divisions. This is where the stories before the names begin, in shared languages, rituals, and ways of imagining order that were later separated. History, though, is not only about time, it is also about space, and about how people imagined it. Before modern cartography fixed lines on paper, worlds were organized through myths, symbolic centers, routes, and directions. These are the stories of the cartographer, not the one who draws borders, but the one who tries to make sense of vastness. Not every encounter between worlds was planned. Many occurred by chance, through trade, migration, and travel by land and sea. These unexpected encounters often left deeper marks than deliberate acts of power. Where worlds met, stability was rare. Borderlands were not lines, but processes. They shifted, overlapped, and resisted closure. Stories of borders that never settled reveal more about historical relationships than any definitive map. Power, too, looks different when seen from afar. Empires appear coherent and confident from their centers. Seen from the edges, they become fragmented, uneven, and ambiguous. Some of these stories follow empires seen from afar, through the eyes of those who lived within their reach, but not at their core. Modernity brought new promises, new languages of reform, progress, and future-making. Not all of these promises were fulfilled. Many remained trapped in documents, drafts, and ideas that never reached their destination. These are stories of letters never sent, of futures that were imagined but never arrived. Certain places once stood at the center of these connections. Cities through which ideas, goods, and people passed. Many of them still exist today, but no longer hold the roles they once did. They are cities you don't return to, at least not historically. And when great structures disappear, life does not end. It becomes quieter. It moves into everyday routines, rituals, and memories passed on without chronicles. These are stories told by the fire, after empire, when history slows and becomes intimate. Above all of this stretches something harder to see, a long persistence, a shadow cast by the past over language, imagination, and ways of thinking. We rarely notice it, but we rarely escape it either. This is the long shadow of history. These stories do not form a single line. They form a network. Each episode can be listened to on its own. Together, they offer a map of the world seen after the moment has passed. If you are interested in history that does not rush toward answers, if you want to listen to what remains after great events, if you are curious about the world viewed from distance rather than triumph, this is where you begin. Not at the beginning, but after the fire. Stay with us, like, subscribe, and tell us what you think.